We're getting ready to start here today. So happy that you're with us. Woo! Countdown, final 10 seconds until the show begins. It's going to be an awesome one today. I can feel it. If you are out there, please say hi. Let us know that you're watching. We've got this streaming in 3 places: my Facebook page, the Baby Talk page, and YouTube. Let's kick this show off. Here we go. I love that little intro. I know it's so cheesy. I gotta work on it. No worries. My name is Lynn Clementi Hicks. Thank you for joining us today. I have an awesome guest on, and guys, I know that I've been talking this up as a show where we would be talking about skincare products that are safe for fertility. But we did our tech show, our tech check, on 2 days ago on Monday. And when we were talking, like, whoa, there's way too much content here, way too much story about her journey. So we are gonna, don't worry, we will get to that skincare stuff, but I cannot wait to let you meet Stephanie Ferency. She's got some awesome stories. You're gonna be entertained. It's gonna be a good conversation. She is just a wonderful person. A little backstory: I met Stephanie in from OTG boot camp when I was coaching there. Maybe we might have been clients at the same time and working out together at the same time before I became a coach, but she's awesome. She'll tell more about herself when I bring her on. But I wanted to open today's episode, of course, with a couple of, updates, because that's what I do here, because it's my show. So first thing first is we're still in the 2-week wait. We are literally days away from doing another pregnancy test to find out, and still, trying to keep that excitement to, not as high as last time so that I don't come crashing down. We're hosting a tiny little birthday party on Saturday for Bert. His birthday's tomorrow. We're having like 6 friends over on Saturday, and I just don't want to be in a super bummer mood if it's another negative, which I'm sure it will be. So trying to be like expecting a negative so that I'm ready. And then if it's a positive, then we'll just have some awesome news to share with our friends on Saturday. Okay, so that's where we are with the 2-week wait. Oops, sorry, got a little excited there. Okay, and then I decided my intro for today's show is going to be like a letters to the editor type of thing. I wanted to share some things that I got from people when I first started doing this. And actually, these are not just from the beginning. I'm going to read 2 of them to you. I just wanted to share. I wanted to share what the purpose of this is, and it's helping people feel less alone during their journey. And here we go. So, hi Lynn. Best wishes on your fertility journey. You are strong, bold, and fertile. Live it up. Fertile? I don't know. It's fertile. Sorry. Can we start over? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Having your YouTube channel will help so many. I'm very private about what my husband and I went through to conceive our daughter. But when I know about other couples struggling, I open up and share. We too went through IUIs. I too had polyps in my uterus. I too had a blocked tube. It was an intense journey, but so worth it. Feel free to reach out to chat anytime you need perspective. I have some resources that you might already be looking into. So that was an awesome one. I have gotten several of these private, I haven't told anybody else about this, but I like to open up to people that I know are going through it. Another one. Hey Lynn, it's been quite a while, but I just want to say hi and let you know I've seen your posts about your baby journey and watched a few of your videos on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing. I've gained some new perspective from listening to you talk about your experience. That's what it's all about, guys. All right, and I've got one more from you. And it was an audio message because, this person is Stephanie, who's our guest today. And I'm going to play you the message. She was like one of the first people that reached out when I did my very first video about all right, I just got to start. I think that was the video she's referring to. So here goes. I'm going to play it. You're going to see my Facebook. I'm going to play the audio. Here we go.
Live, and I
let me rewind there. Sorry about that, guys. What? This is fine. Here we go. Sorry.
I felt like I had to message you because one, you did fantastic. You are incredible live. Like, you're so good at it, and you don't even realize it. I love that you had a ring light because I was totally going to suggest if you don't, that's super helpful. And I am so excited to see you talk about your journey, and I am so stinking proud of you and happy for you guys. This is absolutely a conversation that needs to be made normalized. Women go through fertility issues and then issues stupid messenger cut me off. Women go through fertility issues, and then on top of that, there are, you know, postpartum things that I've been dealing with too, post-baby. Hello, mine's almost 2 and I'm still working through it all. So thank you for being vulnerable on it. And, you know, I'm super excited to watch your journey. So if you have any questions at all or need any help with live stuff, please let me know. I'd be happy to help. And otherwise, you really don't need me because you're doing fantastic. So hope you guys are doing good. And I'm super pumped to see your journey. Bye.
Welcome, everybody. This is Stephanie Ferency. That is who left that amazing message. So encouraging. She has been cheering me on this entire time, and I am so happy to have her on as the guest today. Welcome, Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm so excited to be here, and you are fantastic. I can't believe you've only been doing this for 7 weeks. Like, I got on, I was like, this is far more professional than anything I've ever been a part of. So you've got this on the block, girl. You're good.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. It's a lot of hard work, and I do appreciate when people say thanks and say that. It's really nice. But you are a rock star. I saw your TikTok the other day. You're like, am I doing this right? And I'm like, yeah, you're doing it right. I wish I had that pulled up ready to go. It was so funny. One of the hand ones, where you're changing. Nailed it.
Well, everybody else's are so like on beat with the thing, and I couldn't figure out how to like slow my videos down. I was just like, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna do it, because one of the things I've learned is I could procrastinate and try to figure out how to make it perfect, and then I end up doing nothing, or I could just put it out in the world the way it is and like ask for forgiveness if people hate it. So
yeah,
or just roll it.
And that's the thing, just roll with it, right? What's someone gonna do? Like, hey, this is stupid. No one's gonna say that.
Right. Like, are
if you do,
me and tell me that my TikTok sucked? Like, scroll past.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Yeah, if you are watching, please do say hi. Like I said, we are streaming in 3 places. We'll be able to pop your comments up on screen if you are watching on the Baby Talk Facebook page or Baby Talk YouTube channel. Otherwise, I will be monitoring them if you are watching from, I think, Stephanie's shared video or mine. I see that Leanne's saying hi. So hi, hi, Leanne. We've got some super fans out here. Obviously, my husband, Bert, he is always watching. Bert's there. And of course, my parents are here too, which is always, always got to give them a shout out. My dad the other day, he's like, we're not going to watch your live today. I'm really sorry. We're out, but we'll watch the replay. And I'm like, Dad, you're so sweet. You catch them all.
Thank you for telling, right?
Yeah. Okay. We have so much to cover today, so let's not delay anymore. And usually, we kind of talk about like you and what you're doing now and stuff, but we have so much to cover. Let's jump backwards real quick. Okay. A lot of the people on our channel, they dealt with infertility, but that's not the focus of your story with us today. It's actually going to be the postpartum story. But let's talk about your pregnancy first. Talk about how long it took, and you tell the story, because I don't want to give anything away. You go, just go for it.
So, my husband and I got married in October of 2016, and he's always wanted children. He's, you know how like when you find somebody and you just know that they're going to be a good partner or dad or whatever it might be, I always knew he would be a great dad. However, I was never that girl that like, when people would say, well, what's your 5-year plan, or where do you see yourself 20 years from now? I was never the girl who was like, I'm going to be a mom. Like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have kids. That was never my thing. It was just my mom and I growing up, and my dad lives in Toronto. And I've always just known women to work full time and, have careers and that kind of stuff. So in my mind, I was going to go to college. I was going to graduate. I was going to move to New York. I was going to work in fashion. Like these were my plans. And I'll fast forward. I won't dwell on that too much, but fast forward, like the things you plan for yourself at like 16 don't often turn out exactly as planned. And, that's okay. I ended up moving to Chicago and actually worked in banking for a while, and then pursued, when I met Chris, I was still at banking. And then he kind of helped me pursue my dream of going back into fashion. And I ended up working for a jewelry company. And that's kind of how, when we became in, I was working out at OTG with you guys, and it was the best.
It was.
Good times. We had kind of hit a point where Chris was like, I think we should try to have a baby. And I was kind of like, oh, okay. I am not somebody who does well with change very well. Like I, can kind of roll with the punches for the most part, but lots of big life changes I've learned is not my strong suit. So we decided to pull the goalie, if you will. I had not been on birth control for a long time. The hormones in birth control and stuff just made me kind of crazy, made me loopy. I just didn't like the way I felt.
Me too. It was the same way.
Yeah. I'd been on a generic, I'd been on one pill for a long time, then they stopped making it, and then I got put on the generic version of it, which ended up being completely different, and my body just was not okay. Hindsight, now that I'm talking about it, that explains probably a lot of my hormonal stuff post-baby, but that's a whole other part of the story. But anyway, so we decided to pull the goalie and stopped the pull-out method, which was what we were using. Sorry, honey, if you're watching. And, we waited a couple months and nothing really happened. And I was just kind of like, okay, whatever, no big deal. And then Chris was like, maybe we should, start using the fertility strips. Because I had been tracking my ovulation on an online tracker, which I still use to just know when I'm ovulating. But after a while, you kind of learn how your body feels when it's ovulating. And then you kind of get the inkling that, like, oh, I probably should avoid my husband if I don't want to get pregnant this month. Anyway, so we decided to plan ovulation strips. And the first month we did it, I didn't get pregnant. And it was okay. And then I, kind of didn't really talk about it with him for that following month. And we decided to kind of like wait, just take a break from it, because in a lot of like fertility issues, like it becomes more of a job than it does,
Yes.
Yeah, it just becomes more of a job. And we really
the fun's gone.
into that.
Yeah.
So the second time we decided to pee on fertility strips, it worked. It was one of those situations where I think my period was 10 days late when I finally took a pregnancy test. Like, I knew I was pregnant. My husband knew I was pregnant, but like, I didn't want to admit to myself that I was pregnant. Selfishly, we were going to a street festival. We still lived in Chicago. We were going to a street festival, and I wanted to have a drink. Selfishly.
Fair.
I ended up taking the test and then did not drink, which was totally fine. But then it was also that moment of like, oh my God, we're meeting up with friends, and if I don't have a drink in my hand because I'm a social drinker, they're going to know. So then I had to like pretend that I smuggled in vodka and poured it into this lemonade, which gave me massive heartburn anyway. But anyway, that was kind of where we were at. But so that ended up kind of working for us. And the day I took the pregnancy test, we lived in Wicker Park at the time, and we had two bathrooms. One was upstairs, one was downstairs. And I went into the lower bathroom and peed on the stick, and then came back and it said positive, which, I mean, everybody and their mom knew because my period was 10 days late. And I also screamed the F word at the top of my lungs because there was no going back. Like, at that point, it was like, holy crap, here we are. This is what we're doing. And Chris knew that I was pregnant because my period was 10 days late. And and I also remember before even taking the test, I was working out at OTG. And when your period's supposed to come, sometimes your boobs hurt. We were doing this stretch where we were laying down on our chest and we had to like lift our arms up, which I can't do sitting down. And I remember putting pressure on my chest to like do this movement and thinking, oh, that doesn't feel normal. Like, that's not just like sore boobs. That feels like there's rocks in there. Like, something's going on. So that was kind of my first inkling of when I knew I was pregnant. And then I took a test, and well, Julie will be 2 next week. So here we are.
So it went pretty good for you. I do have a question. When you were tracking, and you said you used the app, were you doing your basal temp for that?
No, I still use Period Tracker Lite. I won't pay for it. I refuse. But it's just, and it's nice. It's nice because I just kind of have a general idea of when my period's coming. It's funny because when we were on vacation, I did not like do the math on when my period was going to start. And then lo and behold, like 3 days before we came home, I was like, I think it's cramps. That's weird. And I like didn't think anything of it. And then I was like, oh, I start my period. And I'd like run to the Publix and get tampons because I was not prepared.
Yeah. The reason that I ask is because that's what Bert and I did that exact same thing, but we just did it for like an entire year before we were like, oh, this isn't working. Because those ovulation trackers is like an estimate based on, like a normal cycle. So you have, for the most part, normal cycles going into this. And I'll say, just for other people that are experiencing infertility, is like when you are using those apps and it says, hey, your window is from, day, 9 to 15 or whatever it may be. That's based on a normal cycle. And I can tell you, after peeing on sticks and stuff probably would say the same thing, is like this, doing basal temp and everything. That tracker, that is not accurate. That is an estimate, guys. And if you are struggling with infertility, do not base your ovulation on that estimate, okay? So, sorry, that was like a little
100%.
side note there. Yes.
No, totally. 100%. And now, hindsight, I've also kind of gotten, like I was saying, I've gotten to know my body. So I know,
Yes.
like, when it's coming. Because, like, there are days there are months where I swear I can feel the egg, like, moving. Like,
Yeah.
like I get that weird feeling. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yes, a lot of people have said that they know the feeling of when the egg is released. And at that point, it's like, oh, you got to do it really quick, or you have hope that you actually had sex the night before
Right.
that happened. Yeah. Timing is crazy. It is like, you think you understand the timing around ovulation, and it is a mystery that needs to be like, deduced when you're going through your fertility journey.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like every month is so different. This past month, maybe I was working out a lot more or wasn't sleeping enough, and that like throws everything off too. So it's never the same. It's never concrete. It's never, I am ovulating on this day of the month. It's always different. So
Yeah.
it is very hard to track.
So when you were, we'll go back to your story now. When you found out that you were pregnant, something else big happened that week. And talk about
Yes.
that and how you don't handle change so well.
Yeah, I don't handle change well. So there was the week that we found out I was pregnant. My husband had been looking for other positions. We had kind of talked about moving back to Michigan, but like he had applied for a job there. I never in a million years thought we would actually do it. Like I knew he would probably get the job, but I didn't think that, with, what's the word? The pay would be enough, like, because the cost of living is so much higher in Chicago. So his pay would naturally be higher in Chicago. I was wrong. He got the job and they actually paid him more than he was making in Chicago for us to move back to Detroit. So we had kind of made the decision that this was a path he wanted to follow. And, there was really no reason for us not to move home, just other than I wasn't ready to give up my Chicago lifestyle and living in the city and all this stuff. So at the time, he had accepted his job on a Wednesday. So we knew we were moving. And for those, the first 24 hours, I was like, oh my God, I want to live downtown Detroit. Like, I want to be a part of the change that's there. Like, I want to live in the city. I don't want to culture shock myself. And then Friday, 2 days later, we found out I was pregnant. So everything changed. I, again, said I'm a social drinker. So normally I cope with things with a glass of wine. And then suddenly I couldn't have any wine anymore. And if my mom is watching, which I don't know if she's at work, but she will tell you that I called her sobbing twice in 1 week, like uncontrollably sobbing twice in 1 week. Like it was just, all the dominoes had fallen, and it was just that moment of when you've completely lost physical control of a situation and you just kind of have to go with it. That's kind of where I was, except I was still kicking and screaming.
Yeah. I've been there. I call mom too, quite often,
Yeah.
crying. Yeah.
Yeah. So and it was funny because Friday when I called my mom crying, she like instantly knew. She's like, "You're pregnant, aren't you?" And I was like, and it wasn't that I wasn't excited. I mean, obviously we had sort of been trying, it was just, it's that whole, there's no, like my sister-in-law said it before, like there's just no going back. Like this is, your life is changing and it's going to change. And now you only have 9 or 10 months, depending on when you find out when you're pregnant, to like get prepared for this little being to come into your life. And
Right.
heck, if they don't come with instruction manuals, like how am I going to do this? Am I going to be a good mom? Like, am I going to be able to breastfeed? Is it going to be okay? Where are we going to live? What are we going to do? Like, it's just crazy. Like the amount of thoughts that go through your mind are crazy. And then adding that on top of picking up our life and moving it to a different state, which luckily was back home where all of our family is, thank God, was also just like another added layer of stress. And as somebody who does not cope with change well, and now has learned that I struggle with anxiety and depression, this was kind of the start of all of it.
So
But
yeah. But before all that, I mean, would you have that kind of, not dealing with change well? I mean, would you have labeled that as anxiety previously or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I was actually thinking about it this morning when I was getting ready. I was thinking about like trying to remember the first time that I really like noticed that I was struggling with anxiety. And prior to finding out I was pregnant and baby stuff, it was never unmanageable. Like I knew I would get anxious. I would get that feeling in my stomach where the blood would race. I'd start to sweat. My hands would sweat. Lamb, is that what you called it?
Yeah, the live adrenaline monster. Yep.
Yes, I would have that a lot, and it was manageable. It was never anything that I either couldn't turn into a positive thing or whatever. But I do remember, and my old roommate Brian would be able to attest to this. He's probably not watching, but I tried to move to New York when I graduated college. I got out there. I didn't move. I went out there for interviews and stuff and realized that what they were going to pay me and how much it was going to cost to live there did not meet up. And I remember calling my mom and like just sort of expecting her to like help me financially. And she was like, no, you're kind of on your own now. Like, you got to figure it out. So I came home, still stayed with the job that I'd been working through college and was just kind of, figuring out what I wanted to do in my life. And then my old roommate at the time, a friend of mine who then became my roommate, had called me and said, hey, I want to move to Chicago. Do you want to come with me? And I was like, okay, why not? So we drove out to Chicago on a Tuesday, I think, looked at apartments, signed a lease on a Wednesday, and then drove back to Detroit on Wednesday. I should probably preface this that I've never been a smoker. Like, socially, maybe here and there I smoked a cigarette, but like never bought my own pack, never like had to take a smoke break. He was a smoker, and I smoked half his pack of cigarettes on the way home because I was so anxious I didn't know what else to do with myself. So that was kind of like one of the first times that I can remember having the anxiety that was so overwhelming and overcoming that I like didn't know how to react, didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
I mean, now looking back, I realized that was a good indicator, but again, had never really realized I was struggling with it and just kind of rolled with it or turned it into something positive. So,
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that. And you didn't start medicating at all for that. Like that it was self-manageable. And I think a lot of people, I for a long time did the same thing. I'll just have a glass of wine tonight and I'll relax, and then you're fine. You go to bed and the next day's a new day. And it's really hard when you have to cut alcohol out of the mix. I mean, yeah, a few days ago I turned to Bert and I'm like, can't I just have, and then I'm not, like, I don't even know if I'm pregnant. It's just something that Bert and I agreed to do, was cut back on the alcohol. And I said, can't I just have one? And like, we've been really holding each other accountable, because like one easily turns into two, and then,
absolutely.
There you go. And then the bottle's gone, and then you have a hangover the next day.
Out of a box.
Yeah. Yes, the wines. Yes, I do miss my boxed wine a lot. Okay. So it was kind of early on in the pregnancy that you started to see these kind of like signs of anxiety. And then as you got closer to, and you were more pregnant, you were on bed rest. What was that for? Yeah.
So when I was pregnant, worked a job. I was kind of, I can't remember what my title was, but either way, I worked for a watch company. And I would go into stores where it was sold, and I would train the associates there, help sell, host events, network throughout the store, different things. And it was kind of similar to my old retail days, because I was on the selling floor selling, and I was on my feet the entire time, running around. Julia was born in March, so I had a full Christmas holiday season in retail during my pregnancy, during the latter part of my pregnancy. And I remember, and I took breaks as needed, but I've never been somebody to like allow myself to slow down. So, if I knew I was feeling fatigue, I would sit down, because it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about a little bump too. And I ended up going to the doctor, and they did like the ultrasound, not an ultrasound, but where they like test the fetal monitor, where they like, you have to count how many kicks per minute you get or whatever. And Julia hadn't been kicking as much, so she had kind of fallen off the growth radar. Like, she kind of hit her growth potential and then had like started to drop. So with the nature of my work and her being like, me being 2 or 3 months away from delivering her, I ended up being put on bed rest. So because they wanted to see if me just sitting still would allow her to grow more.
Gotcha. So what does bed rest actually entail? You're not just laying in bed the entire day, are you?
No.
Okay, good. I can't imagine sitting that still.
Yeah, I did get really used to sitting on the couch. And like, I had a specific rotation of shows that I would watch, because I wasn't supposed to really go anywhere or do anything. And we had stairs in the house we were living at the time. So I was like, do I need to like pick a floor? Like, am I allowed to go up and down the stairs? And they were like, yes, you can go up and down the stairs. Just like, don't run up and down them 30 times a day.
Right.
It was just, I really had to slow down. Like, I really just had to kind of like sit in place. I mean, I could still like, go to Target, but like being on my feet for 6 or 7 hours walking around, being back and forth and running on like a high energy like I normally am when I'm in stores wasn't part of the equation anymore. Like I needed to kind of dial it back. And I still remember when I got the call, like my doctor here in Michigan, she has an accent. She's Polish and she has an accent. And I like didn't really understand what her voicemail said. And I was like, I'll just call him on Monday and figure it out. Like if it was that urgent, they would have told me to come in. Didn't think anything of it. So then one of the nurses there called me like first thing Monday morning. I think it was like 7:30 or 8 a.m. and I was still in bed. And she was like, did you get doctor's voicemail? And I said, yeah, I was going to call you guys today to figure out what was going on. She's like, I was like, oh, but I, have something to do at work today. And she was like, oh, no, you can't go to work. You're done. I was like, what? Yeah, she's like, no, you can't go to work. So I didn't go to work. And then I had to call my boss and tell her everything that was going on. And she was very supportive. The company was very supportive. They gave me projects to work on during bed rest up until I went on my maternity leave, which was when I went into labor.
Wow.
So I was very fortunate that everybody was very supportive and understanding, and that they were able to like give me things to do so that I didn't have to start my maternity leave early, which was really nice because certain companies only give you so much time, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough time afterwards. And yeah.
Are you still working for that company now?
I am. I'm in a different role.
Awesome.
I'm in a completely different role, and pandemic, we're all working from home. Chris is home all day. I'm home all day, and Julia's home with us all day. So if you want to come over at any time throughout the day, it is complete and utter chaos. Yeah. I'm trying to work a full-time job and make sure my kid doesn't kill herself. And yeah.
I think some of our viewers can relate to that. Guys, if you're watching, if you have any stories that are similar to this, or if you deal with anxiety as well, let us know. What's your experience as you go through fertility and your pregnancy and even postpartum? As we go through this, we want to make this a conversation, and let us know if you have any questions for Stephanie too. Okay, so we're getting closer here. The your pregnancy stories is interesting as well. How'd that go? Or sorry, not your pregnancy story, your birth story. Sorry, your labor. Yes.
So it's
delivery. There is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's the weeks leading up to Julia's delivery. Every time you get a different pain or a different feeling, you're like, oh my God, this is it. Like this is it. And I remember going into the doctor's office, and they were going to do, I can't remember what they call it, cervical exam, I think is what it is, where they want to see how big your cervix has gotten, like if you're dilating at all, or you're like a 1 or 2 usually early, or whatever it is. And I did not know what this was. Like nobody told me what they do. But they literally stick their hand up there to figure out how stretched you are. And the way Julia was positioned, they had to like go around her head, and it like I could literally feel her going around Julia's. It was,
oh my God.
I was in so much pain. Chris laughs because I screamed. Like the whole doctor's office had to have heard me scream because I was like, oh my God, this hurts. And I tried to like launch myself off like the stirrups, like use the stirrups to like push myself out. I was like, get out of here.
Yeah, like a little warning, please. Yeah.
I didn't know. I mean, this is my first baby. Nobody tells you that part of it. Yeah, so beware of a cervical exam. 2 days after that, I think my mucus plug came out. I didn't know what that was either. I had to Google it. I Dr. Googled everything, which is a blessing and a curse, because either you Google it and you have every single thing wrong with your pregnancy. Like when they put me on bed rest, I didn't quite know why. Like, oh, Julia obviously has a birth defect or something horrible has happened. No, she was just small, and she ended up being small. She was 6'9" when she was born, so she wasn't that small. But yeah, and then my mucus plug had gone, and then I don't remember what the time. I think it was only a few days, maybe a week after that. Julia ended up coming a few days early. My water broke. I'm a night owl. I should preface that with. So one night I'd gone and I was on bed rest. So it doesn't matter when I got up. I didn't have to get up at 8 to go to work. Like I just had to roll out of bed and not even open up my laptop. So I was up really late one night, probably crocheting or doing something. And I got up to bed. It was about 1:30 in the morning, and I went to go lay down, and I laid down, and I was like, something kind of felt like like a knife inside of me, like a little scalpel was going on inside of me.
Yikes.
And I was like, well, that's a weird one. Like that one I had never experienced before. And then I stood up and all hell broke loose and my water broke and there we were. But like, thankfully I got out of bed. My husband was sound asleep. So I like wake him up and I'm like, honey, my water broke. And he like didn't even ask questions. He was just like, it's okay. Everything's okay. We're going to be okay. And I was like, okay, do you think I should like go take a shower? Like, so I showered, I washed my hair. I didn't put makeup on. I washed my hair, like, because I was tracking the labor pains and they weren't bad. They were manageable. Like I could breathe through it. And we called the hospital and the doctor and they said, wait till she's this far into labor or whatever. And also they told me, make sure that before you come to the hospital, you eat something. Cause once you're admitted in, you don't get to eat until the baby's out. Okay. So mind you, it's now probably 2 a.m. We had called my mom because she lived right over by us. We picked her up on the way. We're trying to find somewhere to eat. So McDonald's, when they say they have a 24-hour drive-through, 90% of the time, they are lying. There is nobody there. Like we went through 2 McDonald's drive-throughs. We went to a Walgreens just trying to get snacks. Like thankfully I'd shoved a granola bar in my pocket of my coat. So I ate that before I went to the hospital. That was all I had in my system was like a granola bar. And then after that, all you eat is ice chips, which the ice chips, pretty good, not gonna lie. But like not filling. But also your adrenaline is so high when you're there. You're not even hungry. Like I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
And I remember getting admitted into the hospital. And I've always had a little bit of sass to me, especially in like high anxiety situations. And I remember going into the unit, the maternity unit, and them saying, well, we need to make sure that you ruptured. And I was like, so the fact that my black leggings are completely saturated isn't a good enough indicator that obviously my water broke? Like I've been dripping my way in here. I was not the nicest person giving birth. And you can ask my husband. At one time I never wanted to be patronized. Like I never wanted to hear, like I never wanted him to pet me and be like, oh, you're doing a great job. Like, no. Like be just as scared as I am or like get out. Like be just as worried to get out. And he was trying to be really kind to me and my contractions were really bad. I ended up getting my epidural when I got to the hospital, I wasn't very dilated, but my family tends to go through labor quickly. But it wasn't my doctor that was there. Obviously didn't think that was the case. And I ended up getting my epidural a little late, so it didn't fully take. So my contractions were really, really bad and like white knuckling the side of the bed, like screaming. And poor Chris, he like bent down to tell me that I was doing a good job and he loved me. And we had been up for a few hours at this point. And all I did was look at him and I was like, you have the worst fucking breath right now. Like, get you. Like, that's literally what I had to. Like, he could probably come out and be like, that 100% happened. Like, I was so mean to him. And I felt bad, but at the moment, like, I didn't want to smell his breath. Like,
hey, I understand. I told Bert the other day, I'm like, get away from me right now. Your breath stinks.
Like, that's
love.
Oh, yeah. And then, so I went in, my water broke at 1:30. Julia was out, I think, by 8:45, I want to say. So I was really only in labor for 7.5 hours, which I know I shouldn't be bragging about because I know a lot of women labor for like 24, 48 hours. I'm thankful that was not me because I don't think I would have done it. Like I would have just given it up. I do remember at one point just saying, can you just like go give me a C-section? Like this isn't working. But no, I ended up having her naturally with a little help of a little bit of an epidural.
That's awesome. And then in the morning, I love this. Well, is it okay if you tell the story why you were so mad at Chris in the morning?
Yes. Sorry, I forgot that's what you were asking about.
Oh, that's okay. Like, no, your stories are fantastic, all of them.
The next morning.
This is what not to do, guys. All right, this is a tip. Yeah. Here we go. Pro tip.
Yeah. So the next morning, my husband had a work meeting at 10 a.m. and he went to it. Like, left. And he went to his work meeting and came back. In the grand scheme of things, logically, now that I am no longer sitting in a maternity bed with a tiny human floating next to me in her little, whatever they call it, he had called his mom to come and stay with me. So it wasn't like I was alone, but like, I don't think I've ever been so angry at him in my life. Like he literally like left the hospital, went home, took a shower, went to this work meeting, and then came back. And like I was saying, in the grand scheme of things, I think he was probably around an hour and a half. Like it was really not a big deal. But at that moment, it was a huge deal, and I was pissed. Yeah. Like, I don't even think I had showered yet. Like I don't even think I had been physically able to get out of like the bed that you're in to shower. He's just like, I'm gonna go take a work meeting. I'm like, no.
No, not when we just had our very first child.
No.
Maybe for
Yeah.
baby number 2, it would be okay. I'm just kidding.
We'll see. Ask me when we're not in a pandemic and all 3 of us home together.
Right,
And maybe
I know.
I can answer that question.
So when did you start to see signs of postpartum depression? How soon did that happen? And what did it look like?
I didn't realize it. Okay, so I was going through it, but I didn't realize it. But Julia had a hard time latching for breastfeeding, so I remember, having the thoughts of, I'm not good enough, how come I can't produce food for my baby? How come this isn't working? This is supposed to be natural. And it's funny because prior to having her, I knew in my head, cognizant, and not that I wasn't incognizant, but I remember saying to Chris, like, oh, let's try breastfeeding. If it doesn't work, that's okay. We'll move on to formula. However, when you're in it and you're unable to do what is supposed to be like a natural thing, and I think I told you the story during our tech check that, she was having a hard time latching at the hospital, and I had met with a lactation specialist, and Julia put on the best show ever. She latched like it was, her job. And, you always have the best behavior when the teacher's around. Once we got home, that was not the case. She didn't latch, and that's okay. So, I remember just having the thoughts of like, am I a good enough mom? Am I going to be able to do this? And then also there's one night that sticks out. It was like 2 a.m, and I was trying to feed Julia, and she was screaming and I was crying because she wasn't getting enough food. Because not only did she not latch, but I didn't produce a lot of milk. It was just I wasn't a super producer. I was probably a below average producer, to be completely honest. And I remember Chris just coming into the living room, because that's where I was. And he was like, let's just stop. Like, let's just pump, give her formula, like whatever it is. And I remember being relieved, but also like disappointed in myself at the same time that like I couldn't make this work. So we went to exclusively pumping, which was for me awful. I spent my whole day pumping, cleaning pump parts, feeding the baby, cleaning bottles, pumping, cleaning. Like, it was all I did all day. It was that same cycle of those 4 tasks was all I did. And I understand that maternity leave is all about the baby. I get it. But like, not having a moment to breathe or, take a moment to myself was very, very hard for me. And I just remember, and that might've been the start of the depression too, was just like being in this hamster wheel of constantly just like pumping, cleaning the pump parts, feeding, cleaning bottles. So I remember my friend and I got married, and we took Julia with us. It was a destination wedding for us because we didn't live there. And I remember thinking, like, I'm just done. I don't want to do this anymore. So we bought what is called a baby Brezza. And if you are a mom-to-be and are not planning on breastfeeding and don't know what this is, Google it. It is the greatest thing ever. It's a Keurig for baby formula. So you pour your formula in the back, and then you can tell this machine, I want a 4-ounce bottle, and I want it at a medium temperature, and it just does it for you. It's the greatest thing ever.
I can't wait to get one of these.
Add it to your registry if you do not already have it on there. But yeah, it's the postpartum stuff, like little inklings of that would kind of come up. Also, during the process of all of this, my grandmother passed away, who I was incredibly close to. We actually named my daughter after her. So in the midst of all of me dealing with like the pregnancy hormones and that kind of stuff, then I also had the loss of somebody very close to me happen. So I think that was kind of like the final straw that broke the camel's back of like me being like past the point where I could self-manage.
Right.
And I remember something happening. It wasn't even a big deal. I don't remember what it was, but I remember reacting very poorly in a situation and being able to step out of myself and realize that I had reacted really poorly in this situation, and then saying to Chris, like, something has to change. Like, I think I need help. So I called one of my girlfriends, one of my very best friends, who is a therapist, and she had kind of helped me. She gave me a website to look at where you could like filter the therapist based on their specialization. And at the time, I really just thought it was postpartum anxiety. I didn't think it was depression. Like, I didn't think I was depressed. Like, also, nobody wants to give that label to themselves. I mean, especially with the 75 other things I had going on. That was the last label I needed to slap on myself, but turns out it was. But yeah, so she'd given me this website and I could like filter it through. And when I met with my therapist, she had asked if I was interested in taking meds. And I said, you know, I guess, I mean, wasn't like I was like, sign me up and I was in line at the pill counter. It was kind of like, I don't know what this looks like. I've never been on meds before. Like, is this going to be okay? So I met with my gynecologist to go on meds. And they ended up prescribing me on a low dose of Prozac. It's called like Floxa something. I don't know how to say it. Sorry. But I think it's 10 milligrams. It's a very low dose. And again, me and Dr. Google are one and the same. And I remember starting this pill and like Googling what all the potential side effects were because I was experiencing different things. Like I felt like when I introduced a chemical into my body, I became very in tune with what my body was doing. So I had like a complete loss of appetite, when I first started this pill, which great for weight loss, but like also like I needed to eat. Like I knew I needed to eat. And like just some other things, like I ended up getting like a really bad migraine, which I'd never really experienced before. And I was like, is this all related to this? But you become very in tune with like the different changes that your body goes through. I'm still on it. I'm kind of now out of that beginning window where I'm experiencing any side effects. I've kind of figured out how to like not force myself to eat, but how to like eat basically. But yeah, it's honestly therapy and the meds and just talking to people has been the best thing I've done for myself for Julia.
When you talk to people about it, like have they been through it or how do they react? How do you know how to open up to people about it?
I'm pretty much an open book and I usually overshare anyway. So for me, it's never been too hard to do that. But I remember saying something I have a core group of girlfriends and we all do our beauty business together. And I remember saying something to them and one of my girlfriends being like, are you sure you're not working with a little postpartum anxiety? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. I don't know what that looks like. So she was kind of one of the first ones to kind of bring it to my attention. And then when I was going through the process and talking with them, when I first went to my gyno about meds, she didn't slam me on meds right away. She actually gave me, I happen to have it here, a PMS tracker, because I was able to notice that my anxiety would get really bad right around ovulating and right before my period started. So there is science behind that. So for the first like 3 months, I was just doing therapy and I was tracking my symptoms. So every time I would feel one of these symptoms that were on this chart, like whatever it was, I would have to put a check mark on it so that when she would look at it, she would realize like what was going on. And I guess I was textbook. Something about your neurotransmitters, like right before your period, they drop, but it was taking everything with it, which was causing me the massive anxiety, panic attacks, all of the lovely things that go along with it. So once I had once I had showed her like 3 months of what was actually happening, then she prescribed the med to me. But I was really thankful that she didn't just slam meds down my throat because there's stigma around meds and I don't think there should be, but I also think that proceeding with caution is always a good way to go. I mean, I started on a low dose. I'm still very much like I still have to keep track of all my symptoms. I'm actually meeting with her tomorrow virtually to talk through if this dose is enough, if it's too much or what it might be. So, yeah, I think what I was trying to get to is one of my friends had said, I think you need to be on meds. And I was like, well, I don't know, maybe but my doctor didn't put me on meds. And she was like, I'm surprised your doctor didn't. Like the things that you're telling us, you know, that you're experiencing anxiety with this, or that I had a panic attack when we traded in my car. It's not normal. Like I remember crying when my Ford Escape drove out of my driveway, like crying because I wasn't going to see the Escape anymore. But like we had gotten a new car that was going to come into the driveway, but like I couldn't see past it. And one of the things I remember saying to pretty much everybody around me was that I can logically see the light at the end of the forest. I just can't get myself to walk through it. Like I was just stuck. Like I couldn't go there.
Yeah. I know that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very hard feeling. It's really hard and you do feel very stuck. I think that is the best like adjective to use, you know, for depression is it's really hard to pull yourself out of it. And I think you are so lucky that you have that support group of friends. and that you're one of your closest friends is a therapist, and even though she's not your therapist, that she was able to recommend it and, you know, kind of vouch for it, because so many times when people say, hey, you know, maybe you should see a therapist, people are offended by that. So it's awesome. And now it's cool that you're still going, and it's been 2 years, and you're I don't know, do you see, like, are you going to stop seeing your therapist at any point? I mean, no, right? Same way.
I have no desire to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe at some point when I feel comfortable, I won't go weekly. Maybe I'll just go bi-weekly. But I kind of really look forward to, it's like my weekly reset.
Yeah.
So like talking to her about like everything that's happened in the past week and how I've processed it and like where I'm going, it kind of like helps me reset and start fresh for the next week ahead. I have no desire to stop going. And my husband's like, is it still benefiting you? And, you know, sometimes we have sessions and it's not earth shattering. Like I don't solve world peace in an hour, but I do also get a lot out of being able to speak to somebody about stupid problems that maybe aren't so stupid in my mind, but at the end of the day, in the big scheme of things, aren't a big deal. But like having a third party who, you know,
isn't involved in it,
is there for the facts. Like, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, because you open up to something that's bothering you about someone else. It's not worth a fight, you know. It's not. You just need to process your own feelings about it. You know, it's nothing they can do differently. You know, it's just it's you. Yeah, I get that, and I do the same thing. It's like some weeks are amazing. It's like, oh my God, we just got to really something deep. But those are not as common as the days where you're just talking through what's going on and what's the tough parts. Yeah,
and. Yeah. My husband is wonderful, but he is a fixer. He is a man. He is a fixer. Yeah. So like when I come to him with a problem, he instantly wants to fix it. And 9 times out of 10, I'm really grateful for that. But there's always that 1 out of 10 time where I just want to bitch about it. Like I don't need to fix it. I just want to bitch about it.
Right.
I'm completely honest. Yeah.
And just have someone going, okay, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Or like,
and it's okay to feel that way. Yeah.
Yes, your feelings are valid. It's okay. But like what you do next is what we should probably be focusing on. Yeah. Right.
Thinking about postpartum, and you know, since you're such a Googler with looking at what other symptoms are there out there, because this is actually kind of something I haven't explored yet, and I'm very concerned that because I suffer from, you know, depression, a lot of depression in the past, you know, that I'm like sign me up. I'm an A+ candidate for postpartum depression. I'm very nervous.
Yeah, and you know, it's really awesome that you are cognizant of it, because in my situation, I had never really dealt with depression before. And like I had always said, my anxiety was manageable. So when I was in it, I didn't know that I was in it, but I had also never gotten panic attacks. And getting panic attacks is terrifying. And also I think, you know, without knowing what you're going through, your instant thought is to like yell at yourself and be like, why are you feeling like this? Like, you're fine. It's not a big deal. But that actually fuels the panic attack more. I didn't know this until therapy. But like just having like in like that the lamb, but like over like minute things. Like I remember I was going to my cousin has a little boy who's 4 months younger than Julia. We were going to his birthday party. It was outside, but it was during COVID. And I remember like just having a panic attack on the way there. Like I don't know why. I don't know if I was afraid to be around people, if it was just because we had been trapped for so long. It could have been a number of things, and it doesn't matter what the root cause of it was. But like having a panic attack over something like that, like where like I was like I couldn't stop like shaking, like my hands were sweating, I was like nauseous, like just was.
And and I know those feelings, you know, those panic attacks and stuff. And especially if you've never experienced them before, starting to have them is extremely scary. Like, why can't I control this? That's the scary part is you're like, am I acting like this? Is this real? Is this happening? Why is this happening? Yes. So yeah, I would, so that's a big sign, you know, if people are starting to see those changes or have those panic attacks, you know, and it doesn't necessarily happen all the time after the baby comes, right? Like some of these things started happening before while you were pregnant, right?
The panic attacks, not so much, but the anxiety. I mean, I was always a little bit anxious. Well, and you know, when you're pregnant, and I guess, so anxiety has always affected my digestive system. This is just the way it is. Like, I get the nervous poops, TMI, but here we are. So like, that's how my body processes anxiety, is through my gastrointestinal system, which is a lot of the reason why when I started the meds, I had like zero appetite. It's just, this is how my body does it. And I remember having anxiety because I knew I needed to eat, and I was at lunch with a girlfriend while I was pregnant at work, and knowing I needed to eat, knowing I needed protein, like knowing I needed protein to get through the rest of the day at work. But I was very adverse to meat when I was pregnant. Like something about it just really turned me off, specifically chicken. And you can't have red meat when you're pregnant. Well, you can, but like, who wants to order a steak like totally well done? Maybe you do, and that's okay if you do, but like that's not me. Like I like it a little red milk. But I remember we were eating at, I think it was Meza is what it was called in Chicago. And I'd gotten this Mediterranean bowl, which I've gotten 100 times before. But for some reason, because I was, my pregnancy, everything was different. Biting into the chicken, like I was like, I was hyper aware of my teeth ripping through like what felt like muscles of the chicken and like literally spitting it out. And my girlfriend being like, "Are you okay?" I'm fine. I just can't eat this chicken. I'm going to eat all the stuff around it. But like, yeah, just having anxiety of like, am I eating enough food? Like, and I've never had like an eating disorder or eating situation. This has never been something, this is all new to me at this point.
Yeah.
In fact, I probably eat too much normally. Although I guess I did have hypoglycemia when I was younger. That's different though. My blood sugar was low. But yeah, I remember like, because I did work on my feet, like knowing that I needed to like eat and eat frequently because I was burning the calories, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough for her to grow. Like, yeah, so that was part of like, I guess a little bit of anxiety about that, but at that time it was still manageable. I just didn't eat chicken.
Yeah. Man, I'm very curious how it's going to be for me. I mean, already the sound of people chewing drives me absolutely bonkers. I can't stand it at all. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Makes me nuts.
It's weird too, because when you find out you're pregnant and then they give you this list of things you're not supposed to eat, suddenly you want all of them. Like I've never been a lunch meat person. I never wanted to eat sandwiches. Like it was never my thing. The second I thought I was pregnant, all I wanted was sandwiches.
I love sandwiches.
Oh. And it wasn't even like the weird pregnancy craving. It just like, it was the whole time all I wanted was sandwiches. And I still eat them now.
I think, yeah, I'm very curious how it's going to change for me. Yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating, you know, the people that we've talked to about their pregnancy and how, yeah, someone else had a meat aversion and someone commented about that too. It's tough because you have to get your protein because you have a lot of stuff going on in your body you need that energy for. It's a big deal. This is, you know, and I really appreciate you opening up about this stuff because, Stephanie, I know that even just being here is kind of an anxious type of thing. You're doing amazing, by the way.
Thanks.
And,
Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing this with my hands, and I talk with my hands a lot as it is, but like under here, I'm like, you know,
yeah,
fidgeting.
You're doing great. And all I can say, you're just, and it's okay, guys, fair warning here. Like, I know I look white as a ghost and she looks absolutely like perfect. She just got back from Florida. So give me a break here. I haven't seen the sun like she has. Okay. It's not like our colors are off. Like this is real life. No. Like I am this pale and she is that tan and it's amazing.
I'm normally that pale too. But we were in Florida for 2 days and it was a trip we booked in April, assuming when we booked it that we wouldn't be in a pandemic anymore. Yeah. We were wrong. But it was a very much needed break and I'm glad I went. And yes, anxiety flying there, anxiety being there, anxiety about flying home, flying with a toddler now. Oh, and a toddler who doesn't wear a mask.
Oh my God. So much to deal with. I think
we're officially in that like 7 to 10 day window where we all feel fine. I'm like, okay, so we survived. Like we got through it.
I've known so many people from Chicago who went to Florida to visit, and it's like there's plenty of space like to just kind of be remote and do your own thing, just be in the sunshine, you know, catch some waves, whatever. So I mean, I'm kind of jealous, and I don't know why I haven't done it yet. I should just go.
It was I used to travel for work, so being on a plane has never been something that's terrifying to me. Like I'm used to it. I'm used to turbulence, like whatever, it's fine. Flying in a pandemic is different. It's just different. The mask on your face all day and like, I'm happy to wear it. Don't get me wrong. But like by the end of the flight, I was like, I gotta get this thing off of me.
Yeah.
Just gotta get it off.
I'm glad that I can work from home where I don't have to wear it the whole day. That's tough. We want to keep our skin clear and stuff. Maybe this is a good segue. You know. So originally, like I mentioned, guys, Stephanie has been doing beauty products for as long as I've known her. Actually, I remember you being in the gym and you would always be like completely like dulled out for the workout. And I'm like, who is this girl? But it makes sense now that I know her, you know, like that's what she sells and she is really good at it. And this is a side thing for you. great makeup, but she gave up the makeup thing a few years ago for skincare. So take it from there. Tell us about the products, and then just a quick overview of what Beauty Society is, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so Beauty Society is a company that's actually been around for 15 years. Not many people have heard of it. It's a woman started. Her name is Jeannie, and she's fantastic. I've gotten to actually speak to her on the phone, which is cool because, you know, when you're in these types of businesses, actually having a direct line into your CEO is not something that's normal. But that really spoke to me about this company. So when I was leaving my previous company, which was very makeup based, and moving into skincare, I actually started this during the pandemic, which is crazy if you think about it. Who, you know, does that? But I'm glad I wasn't scared. I mean, I was scared, but I'm glad I did it. So it's been around 15 years. It doesn't have, like, it didn't have a huge social media presence until now. So for those of us in network marketing, this is kind of like a unicorn opportunity where it's an established company, but also at the same time, it's like a fresh opportunity. So it's been really life-changing for me. It is currently what I do on top of my full-time job. But the thing I love about it is, you know, your opportunities with it are endless. So, you know, it's providing me hopefully freedom someday, freedom to make the choices of what I want to do. If I still want to work full time, if I want to work part time, however I want to do it, this is going to kind of help me have freedom to make that choice. But one of the things I fell in love with was the products. They truly work, which I think is what's crazy. As somebody who wore makeup all day, I've always had redness, and I wore a lot of makeup to cover it up. I got introduced to these products, and we have one serum specifically. It's called Drama Free, but it's really done wonders for my rosacea and redness. But what I've kind of done today is I wanted to kind of tailor a few things for the fertility ladies and my pregnant mamas, because there's so many products you have to stay away from when you're pregnant. Like, you can't have retinol. I was learning through research that retinol has like some of the same ingredients that Accutane does, and Accutane, you know, is proven to have like birth defects and stuff. So staying away from retinol is key. And retinol also can look a little bit different on a product package. It's not just going to say retinol right there. There's retinades. There's different things. I'm not even going to try to pronounce them because I'm going to butcher them. But
I'm going to put them in the chat so that they're there for people, because I had a slide set up for this, guys, and it didn't save. Yeah,
we can try, but we're all going to laugh at it. But, you know, even though you're going through your pregnancy, a lot of times women get maskne, or they get the pregnancy mask, especially now that we're wearing masks. Maskne is a huge thing. So retinol is a resurfacer at the end of the day, and it helps with like fine lines, wrinkles, and, you know, spots, but you can't use that while you're pregnant. So one of the products that I love is our Crystal Ball. This is a microdermabrasion treatment. And this will still help with all of those things. It's just that when you have a liquid resurfacer, it soaks into your skin, and you have to be careful with what your skin absorbs and different things like that. Whereas this is not going to be a liquid. It's actually, this is not your teenage apricot scrub. This is kind of like the, I'm an adult now and I need something with a little finer grit. It has like volcanic something, hang on, I took notes. Volcanic microcrystals. It's pumice, but like volcanic microcrystal sounds really cool. Green tea chamomile, which helps to soothe, and also has jojoba oil. So jojoba oil. So when you use it, you're not just like leaving your skin completely like. Remember when you used apricot scrub as a teenager and like your skin felt raw afterwards? This is not the same thing. So this is something I highly recommend. I also love our Saving Face Mask, and Lynn, I know you have this one too. This is my favorite mask in the whole world, and the reason I love it so much is because it detoxifies your pores, so it gets all that gunk out of your skin, but then there's a magical ingredient called Advanced BTX, which is actually $15,000 a gallon, which I would never spend, but it's inside here. And that helps to like plump up and hydrate your skin, because I know when you're hormonal and you're pregnant, your skin does 78 different things in one day. Like, you could be oily during the day, but then completely dry at night, and everything in between. So it's like Michigan weather, raining one day. So this is one of my favorites. I highly recommend it. And then also our Set Me Free cleanser is, this actually does have something in it that you're technically not supposed to use. Salicylic acid as something you're not supposed to. Well, the research on salicylic acid is hard because your doctor will probably tell you no. But then if you dig a little bit deeper, there's like, it says things like, you know, it's fine to use if it's in like a cream, but like in a serum or a chemical peel, it's not a good idea to use because, again, it's being absorbed into your skin. But in a face wash, you're washing it off, so it's okay. But there's also tea tree oil in here, which kind of helps with the oil in your pores with maskne, and also it smells amazing.
It really does. When I first used it, I was like, oh, I could do this all day. This is really nice. Yes.
It's wonderful.
It's very calming.
And then, it is. It just, the tea tree oil just really kind of makes you feel like you're washing your face like on the beach in Mexico. I don't know why I said Mexico, but that's just right. And then one of the last things I wanted to grab was our Making Shade sunscreen. And the reason I'm talking about sunscreen is because we are entering into warmer weather, thank the Lord. But there are something to be said about sunscreen. So there are physical and chemical sunscreens. When you are pregnant, or even I think just if you're still breastfeeding or nursing, you're going to want to stick with a physical broadband sunscreen. The reason that is because that actually sits onto your skin. Chemical sunscreen actually gets absorbed into your skin. And what I learned from my cousin, who's a nurse and is pregnant, and I thank God for her because I bounced things off of her. I was actually standing at Walmart in Florida trying to figure out what sunscreen I needed for Julia. And she was telling me there was something specific I need to stay away from. And anything that has oxy in front of it, you want to stay away from, because that actually can actually irritate your skin. It actually can activate the sun more onto your skin, which causes irritation. So when you're looking for products for yourself, you want to look for zinc oxide and titanium oxide. Those are the safe ones. And you also want to look for something that's physical, broadband, that stays onto your skin. But this is our broadband sunscreen. It is 30, and it also is water resistant for 40 minutes. And I love it. It doesn't smell like sunscreen. It smells like citrusy. I can't really describe it, but it doesn't have that icky sunscreen smell.
I see. So the titanium dioxide and the zinc oxide are what they're looking for, and anything with oxy they're avoiding. Okay. And
you'll be surprised how many like kid geared sunscreens, because when I was looking, I wanted to spray because it's easier to spray a toddler with sunscreen than to corral them and try to like slather them up. It's just, she's almost 2. She runs away from me anyway. So I was trying to find a spray that would work, but so many of like the kid geared sprays actually had all the oxy stuff in them. So that was kind of eye opening to me. Like, if this is bad, why are they marketing it for that? But that's a whole nother bigger topic that above my pay grade.
So the nice thing is yeah, you've recommended a bunch of these for fertility safety, and it was your cousin, right? That does.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's so great that you have that resource. So it's not just something that we're looking up and reporting back to you. This is actually, what is her position? She's a dermatologist. Is that right?
She's a nurse and a dermatologist. I'm sorry, my dog is going wild in the background. I don't know. I'm so sorry. But yeah, she's a nurse at a dermatology office, and she's currently pregnant. So I trust her wholeheartedly, because if she's not going to use it, then it's probably not safe for anybody else.
Right. That's awesome. And she sells the products too. So she's got all like the check boxes. So Stephanie really, yeah, she hit her up for like, confirm all this information for us. So this is solid information. I dropped those tips into the chat for you guys, just so that if you are watching, I think you can read back through the chats on any of these live streams, which is really nice. Okay, so let's real quick do a plug. So if people are interested in checking these products out, yes. So Beauty Society, I showed you guys the website, but Stephanie will actually help you pick out the regimen that's right for you. Talk about what that's like. I could tell them what that's like because you've done it for me, but you probably have your pitch. Go for it.
So I have a skincare quiz that I can send you that you can fill out and send back to me. I just really, when you get onto the website, there are so many different options on there, and no one person fits into a specific regimen. Everybody has their own special things. So I just want to make sure that we're getting products that are geared to you. Like, you might want the Set Me Free cleanser, but you might have sensitive skin, so you might need a different cleanser, because this might not necessarily be good for sensitive skin, but that's not something you would know unless we talk through it. So I would love to kind of sit down, and we can do it over chat or whatever it is, and just kind of talk through some product ideas for you. And if you are, pregnant, going to be pregnant, nursing, there are some things that we definitely will steer clear of. But I want to make sure that I know that too, so that when I'm helping you, I don't want to give you all of the products that you shouldn't be using.
That's perfect. And all those links that I just had up on screen are also in the description for any of these videos that you're watching. So you can scroll down and just get that link and reach out to Stephanie, because she's got a billion friends, and she'd love to have 1,000,000,001. So
Thank you.
I'll be honest here. Like, when you reached out to me, every time you reach out, I'm like, oh God, she's trying to sell me something. But you are genuinely you genuinely reached out to me because you loved what was going on, and you've just reached out to me in the past periodically, just like, hey, what's up? And it's awesome. I had posted a video of or a picture of like, is this a rat or a baby rat or a mouse? And you had reached out to me about that, and it was just so funny. I'm like, oh God, is she selling me something? But No, guys, she's just genuinely an awesome person. And the perk, the icing on the cake is that she can also help you have great skin. They do beauty boxes. If you guys are into those beauty boxes, they look amazing.
They're so fun.
It's really fun. And I did actually do a little homework on the app Think Dirty. I don't know if anyone's heard of this. This is an app you can go on to you can put any skincare product in there, and it'll give you a rating of how many toxic things are in there. And these ones that we're talking about today do have a good, it's 0 to 3 is a rating that you're looking for in there. And I confirmed these are all also approved by Think Dirty, which is great.
I love that. I didn't even know that they were approved, but it's, we're vegan. Most of our products are vegan. We're paraben-free, sulfate-free, all the frees, cruelty-free, which is really important to me because I'm a huge animal lover. As my dog is screaming on the other side of this door.
And I'll also just, to make sure that it's fully included in this, the other thing to look for in the ingredients is phthalates, which is spelled with a PH, THALATES. And that's going to be the fragrances. And this is for men and women. Phthalates can affect sperm health. So if you are washing, men, if you're using moisturizers or body, washes or something that are highly scented, maybe cut those out for a little while if you're having trouble conceiving. That could be something that's affecting your sperm health. And women, same type of thing. Your egg health is important. So they tell you you're born with a certain number of eggs when you're born or whatever, and you run out. Those eggs, they start maturing about 4 months before they actually are released. So think about that. Like if you change your skincare regimen today, so that you stop using these, the toxic chemicals, your egg 4 months from now is going to be the first one that's going to be like, hey, I'm toxin free. That's what eggs sound like in my head. Yeah.
I never thought of it that way. That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's not saying like the eggs that you're having this month or next month are not healthy. But if this is one thing to do if you are struggling with infertility. It's the first chapter in Rebecca Fett's book. You guys know I always love talking about this one. It starts with the egg. She's gonna, it'll talk about cutting out BPAs, and that's usually your plastics, and then the phthalates, which are found in your skincare products. So, and phthalates are not going to be spelled out on the ingredients list at all as phthalates. It's going to show up as fragrance, and the FDA, I wish I had looked up what organization it is that approves these things, approves it if it's listed as that, even though they know that phthalates are something that can be harmful to us. As long as it's listed as fragrance, it doesn't matter, no matter how much is in there, it's approved. Scary.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Stephanie, you have been an absolute freaking pleasure to have on the show.
Thank you. It's been so much fun. I'd say let's do this again next week, but you probably need a break from me. But let's do this again. It was awesome.
I almost want to co-host with you. Maybe I should quit doing this solo and just have you on. That would be a lot of fun.
Well, you're good at this on your own. I'll just come in every now and then, and we'll just we'll chat.
All right. I feel like you have a million more stories, and they're fun to listen to. So yes, I would love to have you back on sometime. It would be amazing. I love it.
This was so awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing everything. Is there anything else that you wanted? I don't think we missed anything. I think we covered everything, but maybe final tips for if somebody is starting to experience postpartum. Don't
be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid. Even if you don't think you're experiencing it, don't be afraid. There is stigma, I get it, but you have to look at it as if you are experiencing postpartum and you don't know it, you want to be the best mom you can for your child, and the best way to do that is to be the best version of yourself. And if you need therapy and a little med to kind of push you in the right direction, it's totally okay. I am here to tell you, you can message me if you want to, and I will talk you through it. It is totally okay. I'll give you a hug, virtually, of course, socially distant, but don't be afraid.
I love it. That's excellent advice. And she is serious, guys. If you need someone to talk to, literally just reach out to her.
I'm happy to share stories and listen. I just listen.
In our tech check, she's like, I really just want to help other women that are going through this. I'm like, that is awesome. This is awesome. My mom gave us a nice job, ladies. And
thank you.
Thank us for the information. Thank you,
so sweet.
Everyone that's watching. If there's anyone else out there that wants to say hi real quick or any last thoughts, we're going to dance this party out. And we're so glad that you watched. Thanks for coming, Stephanie. And
Thank you so much.
We'll see you again soon. All right.
Sounds fun. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
That's part of the day.
Yeah.